It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams.
Waking Up with Wesley is sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.
Finally Friday. Hello there, South Mississippi, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. So this video will talk a little about the morning fog, and then we're focusing on the weekend, because if you got some plans over the weekend, we are tracking rain chances, although the timing might be just perfect for all of your outdoor activities, as some of the rain might wind up just happening during the overnight hours. But before the weekend, let's start off with this morning. Out the door, as you step outside, it's kind of cool. We got 60s and a few 70s. And look at the time lapse that I saw this morning in Biloxi. This is by Back Bay, by the IP Casino Resort and Spa. Clear at 6 in the morning, but at 7 in the morning, starting to see a little bit more fog, as well as at 8 in the morning. So yeah, the time lapse there actually reveals that even though the I-110 across the bay was starting clear, it might have gotten a little bit foggier. Here's a live view of most of our tower cams, I should say. There's the two over on the left in Biloxi. The one here is by Back Bay that we just showed you, by the IP. Might have a little fog near Back Bay. This one's by the beach in Biloxi, and looks like it's all clear right there. Here's by the beach in Gulfport. Also looks like it's all clear. And then you've got the coast of Hancock County by the Silver Slipper. Looks like that one's all clear. We do have one other camera that we can tap into before we move on, and that's our Gulfport cam at I-10 and 605. Good news, looks like there's no fog at I-10 in Gulfport, at least in that one spot. As of the 8 o'clock hour, the latest fog visibility reports are looking mostly good. So if there is any fog out there, it must be really patchy. And it's really not going to last much more than an hour from now. Once we get beyond 9 in the morning, any fog will clear, and we're looking at the rest of the day with hardly any rain. The chance today is basically 10%, and that might not even amount to much of anything. And the better chances for rain are actually going to be over the weekend. So that's what this whole video is going to be about, tracking those weekend showers, which, spoiler alert, look like they're mainly going to be early Sunday. So if you have some plans Sunday morning, certainly something to pay attention to. But before we talk about Sunday in detail, I just want to show you this big, giant 10-day forecast for rain. And notice the only time, well, first of all, notice how much green there is. That means for the next 10 days, most of the time here, our chances for rain are pretty low. And there's only one time out of the next 10 days that we have a not low rain chance. And you're looking at it right there, Sunday a.m. So early in the morning Sunday, towards sunrise Sunday, to right after sunrise Sunday. That's pretty much the times that we could see some rain in South Mississippi over the next 10 days. Other than that, it could be very difficult. You know, October is usually our driest month of the year, so that is what you expect. Not a lot of rain this month. So even though our sky kind of sunny right now, there we are on the Mississippi coast, we are seeing on the satellite some clouds approaching from the west. And we'll see if we can wring out of those clouds one or two little rain sprinkles. But the real big picture here is, as we zoom out, there's actually high pressure nearby, and that's what's going to keep us mostly dry today. Now, there's the system that's going to send a cool front to South Mississippi Sunday. Today on Friday, that system is located way back here in the plains. And it's kicking up some showers over a warm front over parts of Michigan. But there's the cool front that will eventually cross our coast. Before we track the front, I do want to give you a first alert that there are risks for severe weather with this system over the next 3 days. Will they come down to the coast? Let's see. For Friday, the risk level is only a 1, so a very low probability of severe weather somewhere in Oklahoma, Kansas, or Missouri at some point on Friday or Friday night. All right, what about Saturday and Saturday night? The risk increases. It goes up to a level 2, and that actually includes parts of Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, and northwest Mississippi. So a lot of real estate under that level 2 risk of severe weather. Remember, the higher the risk level means the higher the probability of actually seeing things like tornadoes, damaging hail, and damaging wind gusts. And that could be a real factor for our neighbors in North Mississippi. If you have travel plans on Saturday and Saturday night, you definitely want to pay attention to this if you're traveling to the north of our coast, if you're traveling into North Mississippi, because locations like Tunica, Oxford, Tupelo, Greenville, Vicksburg have a decent chance of maybe getting under a severe thunderstorm warning, maybe getting under a tornado warning or something like that at some point on Saturday or Saturday night. Now notice how the probability decreases when you go from the yellow to green, and then it decreases again when you go down into the non-area where we are. So if you've been watching my last few episodes of Waking Up with Wesley, then you know that this is basically exactly what I've been expecting. The risk of severe weather on our Mississippi coast, I'm happy to report, is still looking like it's slim to none, because the storms are still expected to get a little bit weaker as they move from North Mississippi on Saturday evening down to South Mississippi by Sunday morning. It's because it's going to be overnight, and storms, they are not fueled by the daytime heating during the overnight hours, so they're already going to be losing some of their steam as they come down to the coast. So for most of us in the 6 southernmost counties, we're basically spared from the risk of severe weather on Saturday and Saturday night. So that's great news for our local area. Hopefully there are no changes to that information as we continue to monitor things into the next few days. And then as we go from Saturday to Sunday, does the risk come farther down to the coast? Does it come from Mississippi down to the coast? Let's see. No, it doesn't. It actually, the energy with this system actually travels toward the east, and there's a level 1 risk in Pennsylvania and West Virginia. So now that we've covered the severe threat, let's talk about the rain potential, because we're in a severe drought and we could use a drink of water when it comes to rain in South Mississippi. It does not look like we're going to see enough rain to bust the drought, folks. We are only looking at up to about an inch of rain in most places. And then maybe only a few spots, isolated areas, could get higher than an inch of rain. As far as your breakdown day by day, for Friday and Friday night, it's looking like if you get a stray sprinkle, you're one of the lucky few. There's really not much rain expected on Friday and Friday night. Saturday night, again, looks very isolated with the rain, and the placement of it looks to be very close to the Louisiana line. So locations close to Picayune and Pearlington, west of Diamond Head and west of the Kill, west of Poplarville, places near the Louisiana line probably have that better Saturday rain chance. But then after midnight Saturday night, which is also known as Sunday, that's when we get into those higher rain chances, and you can see that it's going to be where some of us get some rain. I'm not sure, we're not going 100% with this, folks, so maybe some spots might actually miss on this. Let's take it to the Futurecast map, and you can see the scattered showers and storms hitting Jackson around 1 in the morning on Sunday, and some of those could be strong to severe for them. Remember, they are under a level 1 to 2 risk of severe weather in northern parts of the state. Now, these get down to Hattiesburg around 3 or 4 in the morning on Sunday, and while the line is hitting Hattiesburg, maybe they're getting some severe thunderstorm warnings near Hattiesburg around 3 or 4 in the morning, but don't let your guard down that we're just completely dry here. Because look, you got these little bitty pop-ups, these little individual storm cells that might try to pop up near the coast. And so even though the big line of rain might be up in Hattiesburg, we might not be completely dry here at the same time. We might have our own little tiny pop-ups early Sunday morning. But then once we go from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., 4 a.m. to 7 a.m., all of that begins to roll down to the coast. But look at the structure of this line. Look how continuous and kind of solid the line is over Interstate 65 in Alabama. That looks like where more of the active weather could be. Notice where we are on the tail end of that line, you actually have it kind of more broken apart. It's not as continuous, it's not as solid. You just kind of have a few clusters of showers and storms. And inside of those clusters, or within those clusters, you basically have like, look, a little break over Jackson County, a little break over Pearl River County. So some places might not get hit, believe it or not, and you might actually miss on some of these scattered showers with a chance for storms Sunday morning. That's why we did not go 90%, 100% with these rain chances. We did go around 50, maybe 60%. Saturday night into Sunday, but I don't think that everyone is guaranteed to get a raindrop on their street, on their, porch, their driveway. I'm not sure if that's how this is going to shape up for us. So there's your Sunday. The sun is coming up. There are some scattered showers, a few thunderstorms in parts of South Mississippi. Hopefully not too much severe weather. We're thinking we're going to be spared from that. And then a few hours after the sun comes up, where's the rain? It's gone. It's all the way over into Florida and getting over into Georgia by that point of the day. And you're noticing that we don't really have much left here rain-wise. Now, does that mean the rain chance is 0 at 10 a.m.? I don't think so, because there is still enough moisture that if a shower wanted to pop up, it could. And you do see the modeling showing some of these. They're very tiny because the atmosphere will be very worked over. It's going to be very overworked from that larger cluster that rolled through. So these little tiny pop-up showers, they're not going to be able to amount to much, but they are there, and the rain chance is not 0. If you want a 0% rain chance, you basically have to get on the other side of this blue line with the triangles, the other side of the cool front. That's where all the drier air is. And that does not hit the Mississippi coast until around or after lunchtime Sunday. Now, by the time we are at 3 or 4 p.m. on Sunday, that's when we're finally seeing the cool front pass through the area. Now the air is turning drier for us. Now we're getting into the lower humidity as we go later and later into Sunday. And it just gets drier and drier as we go beyond that into Monday morning. So here's kind of a look at that with the dew points. And notice today it's on the humid side. We've got the muggy air coming in from the Gulf. Our dew points are around 70 in parts of coastal Mississippi. And then fast forward to Saturday, tomorrow, we're still looking at those muggy dew points around 70 on the Mississippi coast as we tap into that muggy Gulf breeze tomorrow. It is going to be kind of breezy at times ahead of this system. And then take a look at Sunday. The front quickly slides through. So we're no longer seeing that push of muggy air from the Gulf. It's now basically on the Florida coast at that point in time. And we're beginning to see the drier push coming in from the north. But notice the number still says basically 70 for us, right? So you're not going to notice it feeling dry at lunch on Sunday. But if you wait until Sunday night, that's when we finally get those numbers to come down. We'll drop from 70, which is pretty muggy, all the way into the 50s, which actually feels pleasant, but you won't feel the pleasant air probably until Sunday evening or Sunday night. And that will be something that we cash in on for Monday, that lower humidity. There's a sharp drop in humidity from Sunday to Monday. It's going to be completely crisp on Monday. But then there's another front that comes in on Wednesday. So before the next front, we actually get the dew points to come up just a smidge on Tuesday. And then that front gets here Wednesday and knocks them right back down. So we'll get another crisp day. So when you look at most of the days next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the majority of them are still looking pleasant and crisp. The only one that might be a little less would be basically Tuesday, the day before Wednesday's front. So that's something that we are going to enjoy, a long stretch of crisp, lower humidity next week, even though it is going to be a little muggier for this weekend. And again, 2 fronts that we are tracking for you there going into the weekend. Now, those temperatures are going to get a little bit cooler. I want to talk about the next 4 days. We'll start off talking about the next 4 days for high temperatures. So here we are today, and we are in the middle and upper 80s, very warm for mid-October. Normally in October, you have temps in the lower 80s, if not the upper 70s, right? And tomorrow, we're still, before the front gets here, still warmer than normal. But then by Sunday, the front's moving in. We're seeing the temperatures come down a little bit, lower 80s. And then the day after the front gets here, Monday, we might barely get over 80 in the afternoon. So we are talking about a very comfortable day, Monday. You might not even break a sweat if you're going to be out and about on Monday afternoon. Now, what about those mornings? Because we can get some chilly mornings out of this too. Let's take a look at this. So still mild Saturday morning, 60s, 70s. Then we go to Sunday morning. It's raining, so it's not going to be cool. It's 60s and 70s for morning temperatures on Sunday. But there's your Monday. Now, we show 57 for places like Gulfport, Biloxi, Pascagoula, but that could actually be 51, maybe 50, maybe 49 for places like Perkinston, Wiggins, Lucedale, Poplarville, Picayune, Van Cleve, Saussure, and the Kill, places north of I-10. And then you go to next Tuesday, and it's still pretty cool, seeing plenty of 50s and only a few 60s. So, again, just a lot to like about that as we go through the next 7 days. And I want to take a look at the 10-day forecast right before we go. Since we've got both of your weekends, we have both of the final weekends, or let's say it a different way. We have the final 2 weekends of October in view in your 10-day forecast. So here's this weekend, which has the rain chances, mainly Sunday morning. And then we go through the final week of October, and it's a long, or excuse me, we head into the final weekend of October, and it's going to be a long, dry stretch into that. And you can see Saturday, October 25th, Sunday, October 26th, no rain chances in South Mississippi, which is great news since that is that, big Halloween weekend, or as I like to call it, the Hallow weekend, because that's the final weekend before Halloween. It's, Halloween falls on a Friday, so the day after Halloween is November. So that's why you might wind up seeing a lot of parties, a lot of festivities and events going on, and that's the temperatures you have to work with. The evenings are going to be cool, but the afternoons are going to be pleasant, and you're probably not going to be sweating if you're going to be in a costume, all kind of tied up, bundled up, whatever in a costume. You won't have to worry about it being too overly hot and you're going to be sweating out your costume based on what we are seeing now. Of course, the information can change as we check back on it, but for now, at least the initial glance at that weekend looking pretty good. So that's pretty much going to do it for this edition of Waking Up with Wesley. Just remember to keep your rain gear handy if you have any plans to be out and about early Sunday. We do have those higher rain chances coming into the picture, mainly during the early part of Sunday. And after that, that's pretty much it. Not much rain for perhaps the rest of the month. Well, that'll do it for today, and we'll see you again on the next video.
Waking Up with Wesley has been sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.